Today is the day I will change my luck. I will find 3 pennies and they'll be heads up. I will walk like a queen in my tennies and jeans, 'cause I know where I come from. From the stars and the sun, from that magical one, I am part of this thing called life. Yeah, from the known to unseen, everything in between, I am part of this thing called life. I am one with this thing called life. Yeah, today is the day I'll remember to see only good, only God happening through you and me. I will not forget all the treasures due me, 'cause I know where I come from. From the stars and the sun, from that magical one, I am part of this thing called life. Yeah, from the known to unseen, everything in between, I am part of this thing called life. I am one with this thing called life. Yeah, today is the day I'll be more of myself, love my skin, where I've been, and everyone else. No more push, no more pull, simply flow as I go, 'cause I know where I come from. From the stars and the sun, from that magical one, I am part of this thing called life. Yeah, from the known to unseen, everything in between, I am part of this thing called life. Yeah, from the stars and the sun, from the magical one, I am part of this thing called life. Yeah, from the known to unseen, everything in between, I am part of this thing called life. I am one with this thing called life. I am loved by this thing called life.
All righty. Good morning, everybody. Unity of Payson.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you. Thanks for everybody being here in person and for everybody online. We're grateful to see everyone. And so let's take a moment as we gather to just spend a moment in prayer. Let's take a nice deep breath, kind of let the outside world drift away, and just be here present. We come together in gratitude and in joy, being thankful for the opportunity of gathering together as a spiritual family. We open to our own higher vision, acknowledging that we breathe and live through our own divinity as we move toward our own highest good. Divine imagination triggers our potential. Divine life invigorates us. For these and for all else, we give thanks, and so it is. Amen. And we have an opening song, Translucent, by Mark Welch. And you're invited to stand if you're here in person, or if you're at home, you can stand also.
To this island to find paradise, rediscover the me I am, reclaim my power, fully devour the life that's been placed in these hands. I shall become translucent, see all the beauty as memories get washed away. I shall stand on a new shore, divinely reborn, to celebrate. Translucent, translucent, revealing a brand new me. Oh, translucent. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new, I have come to this island to find paradise, rediscover the me I am. Here I reclaim my power, fully devour the life that's been placed in these hands. I can feel it, I can feel it. I shall become translucent, see all the beauty as memories get washed away. I shall stand on a new shore, divinely reborn, to celebrate. Everybody sing it out. Translucent, translucent, revealing a brand new me. Oh, translucent, translucent, it's a brand new day. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new. It's a brand new day. I have come to this island to find paradise, rediscover the me I am. Yes, here I reclaim my power to fully devour the.
So thanks, Tom, for fading us out on that one. So we're glad that you're with us this morning here in person and online. Oh, I see us coming back around online. So if you're with us virtually, well, for everybody, Reverend Neal is back east today, and so he will be joining us for the message and the meditation, but I'll be here the rest of the time. And so I believe he still would like you to stay, if you're online, to stay online afterwards, because he really likes to greet everybody online. And everybody here in person, we always like to kibitz afterwards, so we invite you to stay for that. And let's see. Let's do our blessing for everybody here in person, online, and everybody who still has to find us together. We love you. We bless you, and we welcome you. Yes, we do. On to gratitudes. We're grateful for the support for this community and for all of you, your lovely faces this morning. And so if you're online and have a gratitude to share, you can put it in the chat. And if you're here in person, Ram has the famous red microphone. If anybody would like to share a gratitude. Debbie's got one.
I would just like to share that I am so very grateful for.
Yeah. Yeah. Real close.
No, I am so very grateful for asking the higher power for changing my perception and belief system in certain things. I can feel it already happening, and so it is.
Wow, thank you so much. That was a great share. She was thanking higher power for opening her up in a new spiritual direction. So anybody else, any gratitudes? I certainly am grateful for all of this nice, slow rain that we've had. Usually this time of year, we have snow on the ground. You don't have to shovel the rain. Everybody remember the year we had 3 feet on the ground? That was a workout to shovel that. So unity is grounded.
So can I break in for a minute here and give a gratitude in voice? Good morning from Chicago.
Both Donna and I are chaplains, and we also have, oh, I see we forgot to get it out. We will get out the prayer box for the back table, so that if you have a prayer need, you can write out the request and drop it in the box. We hold them sacred and confidential. We pray over them for 30 days, and then they get sent on to Silent Unity, where they're prayed on for another 30 days, and that one's a 24/7 prayer service. So don't hesitate. If during the week you have a prayer request, you can go to neil.unityofpayson@gmail.com, the address on the screen, and send your prayer requests. And if you would like one of us chaplains to contact you personally, please leave email or phone number, contact information there so that we can reach out to you. And our theme for the month is vision. And so let's say this affirmation together. I image my heart's desire, believe with eyes of faith, take the steps that are mine to take, and manifest my dream. Yeah, some of us do the first couple, but you do need to take those steps. What is yours to do in that? And Rev Neal, like I said, is our speaker today, and his talk title, As Big as Life. That's how big we can vision. And a metaphysical moment. I found this in my Science of Mind book and edited it a little bit because theirs are quite a bit longer than our regular daily words. A world awaits your light and vision. If what we focus on expands, then why do we allow ourselves to focus on that which we do not want to see in our experience? What causes us to have a divine insight around an idea, only to then lean into our fears and insecurities, magnifying them in such a way that they drain the life from the insight, and that only a short time ago felt so important? I can't help but think about all the divine ideas that have never seen the light of day due to an unwillingness to move attention away from fear and toward the possibility of what might be. How many incredible ideas have you had that you were unwilling to give energy to? How many gifts that only you can share with the world have you allowed fear to suffocate? Our physical life is finite in terms of years, and there are things only you can do during this time. You are that little piece of the puzzle, nobody else like you. Release the fear and have the courage to share your greatness with the world. We await your light and your vision. Right in keeping with Reverend Neal's message. And now, our message from Reverend Neal.
You're muted, Neil. No, still muted. He's not hearing. No. You're muted, Neil.
Neil, you're muted.
That's not good.
How about that? Can you hear me now? Somehow I'm unmuted here, but I don't seem to be coming through. Well, let me look at my audio settings again.
Neil, you're coming through now. It's okay.
Okay, good. Well, I'll go back to it. As I had said before, I'm not sure if you got it on. Well, greetings from Chicago. I'm here in Chicago because of the funeral of my ex-wife, with whom my kids are very close. It was a long time ago that we parted, but my kids have been very close with my ex, and at this time of her passing, I wanted to be here with them. And it's a wonderful time because I'm getting to connect with family, even a very somber kind of situation. I'm staying with my younger sister here in the area, and it is it's one of those real blessings, ones you feel right away, for me to be here. But I'm also delighted to be able to be with you and to share the message that I've been considering for a while and working on for the last little bit. So, my kids and my ex-wife, probably somewhere around 30 years ago, went to Disney World. And there at Disney World and Epcot Center in particular, we enjoyed what was titled Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, a little video presentation, a film, based on Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And I don't know if anybody remembers that movie, but Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, of course, had the kids being very, very small, miniaturized, and finding their way through the blades of grass as they tried to get back to the house because they'd been thrown out in the trash because they were so small they couldn't be noticed. And it took quite some time and some focus for that detail of the kids being very small to become apparent. Well, the film in Epcot Center was Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, and it was as though those of us in the audience were the small ones. But we were seeing a world that was so much bigger than we were. We couldn't believe how big it was and how real it was. It was as big as life, which of course is the title today. I even remember that they had it rigged up so that when the dog sneezed, we got the mist because they had little misters that came on. It was as though the dog had sneezed. This huge dog, of course, because we were the small ones, and this huge dog sneezed on us. But that was a big picture that we were seeing, even though if we take it a step further, they were seeing a very small picture of us, the audience. So that's what we want to talk about today. The small picture or the detail of life, and then the big picture. And we're often talking about them. We're in the context of the discussion of vision, and that's been our theme for the month. And one of the things we've said is that it's important to see things differently, because normally if we just kind of let ourselves go, we see often in error, we see in fear, we see something that is an illusion. So we are determined, as the Course in Miracles says, to see things differently. We're determined to change our perspective so that we can see something that takes us forward and lifts us upward. So let's look at that today. Remember, there are two things we're talking about. We're talking about seeing things in detail, the small focus. Do you know what microphotography is? Microphotography is one of those things where you might see a photographer lying on the ground, pointing the camera very closely at a dandelion and taking the picture. And we then see, as that photograph is made available to us, the detail of the life of that flower. Well, that's kind of like us in certain ways. We can see things in detail. And that's important. It has two sides. It has a side that moves us forward and a side that holds us back. So I want to take a look at both of those sides about when we're looking at that very small detailed picture. Of course, there's the possibility on the negative side of it that we might be stuck in tunnel vision. We might be seeing only a very, very narrow sort of thing. And perhaps that narrow sort of thing is our past, a pattern of our past. We retell again and again and again in this tunnel vision state a story. And this is something that doesn't work for us. Eckhart Tolle says this in The Power of Now, his book. So you see and judge the present through the eyes of the past and get a totally distorted view of it. The need for change, for perspective, when we're stuck in that past, in that tunnel vision, retelling a story and looking at the past. So looking at the past is retelling the story, but we could also be looking in detail at something future. And this is often when we're worrying. We're worrying that something we may have experienced in the past is going to happen again. And so we're looking at it in detail, and we can just feel all of the results of that catastrophe, whatever it is, getting to us. We're focusing on the future, but we're succumbing to fear and worry. So, yes, we don't want to be on that negative side of it. So we can move from that to focusing not in the past and not in the future, but in the present. We can give ourselves to mindfulness or present moment awareness. Of course, this mindfulness is practiced very much in its fullness in Buddhism. And if you're familiar with Thich Nhat Hanh, he was one who shared with us ways in which we could understand that mindfulness, that ability to be in the present moment. There's a story that he tells in one of his books that I like a whole lot. And I want to share just a little bit about that because it highlights this mindfulness. And he says this: if while washing dishes, we think only of the cup of tea that awaits us, thus hurrying to get the dishes out of the way as if it were a nuisance, then we are not washing the dishes to wash the dishes. What's more, we are not alive during the time we are washing the dishes. In fact, we are completely incapable of realizing the miracle of life while standing at the sink. If we can't wash the dishes, the chances are we won't be able to drink our tea either. While drinking our cup of tea, we'll be only thinking of other things, barely aware of the cup in our hands. Thus, we are sucked away into the future, and we are incapable of actually living 1 minute of life. So when we focus on the detail of the past, or focus on the detail of the future, we're not really living. We're not as big as life for sure. We're in fact almost not alive. Focusing on the present, that is the only place that we can make change. That's the only way we can access a different perspective. When we, in the present, can ascertain our heart's desire, can feel it in the present, remember, and set an intention in the present moment. We're not ahead of ourselves yet. Or we can give our attention in detail. Then we have a vision that lifts us up and moves us forward. Let's go to the other example of vision, and that's seeing the biggest possible picture. I don't know if anybody of you have seen a little video that's a cosmic zoom. The view of the video is something that's right in front of us. And then we begin to zoom out and zoom away. And as the zoom continues, we move into light years away and a vastly different and bigger picture than all we are. And then we could take that zoom and come back again, zooming back into where we are and go within ourselves and see a vastly bigger picture. So again, in this metaphor of seeing that big picture, the only place that we can experience true vision is when we do that in the present moment, because the past, when we're looking at the big picture, may look at something that we should have done, something that we should have been. It's partly a fearful sort of thing, but it looks at the big past of our lives and say, oh, if I should have, oh, if I only would have. or we can look again to the future. And we can take an idle desire, an idle wish, and we can blow it up into a fantasy, a big, huge, maybe sometimes very graphic vision, fantasy, but it's not real. So that's the negative side of seeing a bigger picture. And we move again to the idea of the present moment, focusing on truth as we know it, as it resonates with our very being, with eyes of faith. Emerson, whom I like a lot, has something to say about this. He talks about it in the context of prayer. He says, prayer is the contemplation of the facts of life from the highest point of view. So in that present moment, in that place of prayer or meditation, as we often do, we contemplate life in the great picture, the big picture, the highest possible point of view. The writer of 1 Corinthians in the Christian scriptures gives us great sense of promise when we're looking at things from the highest point of view. And it talks about vision this way. And this is the way I learned it when I was a kid. Eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. And although I might paraphrase it a little bit differently now, the meaning of that is there. That there is a grand, destiny for us. That we're made to experience that destiny. It's so much bigger than we think of normally. And as we in the present moment are able to give ourselves to that truth and just relax into the fact that there is so much more for us, then we move forward and we move higher. So it's interesting that I'm in a situation now where I have a chance to look back and to look forward, to look at detail, and even to look at the biggest picture, the biggest possible picture. Because I attended the funeral of my ex-wife yesterday, and it was a wonderful eulogy of all of the very positive things. And I was looking at those kind of things, but the priest, friend of mine from a long time ago, who gave the eulogy, also saw the things that didn't work for Karen, my ex-wife, and was able to bring it back to a present moment sense of affirming the truth and seeing it in detail, yes, but also from the highest point of view, to know that the end of physical life is not all there is. We're all on a journey. We've all gone through various things. We've had successes, we've had failures, we've made mistakes, we've done some wonderful things. But when we're able to look at the detail in the present moment, when we're able to look at the big picture, knowing that we are spiritual beings and not just physical beings, we're primarily spiritual beings, and our beginning and our ending are not here. And we see only that small picture. As in the present moment we're able to see that, we have hope. So I ask the question that I always ask: how do I do that? How do I stay in the present moment, not get stuck in thinking about details that are past or fearful in the future, not get stuck in fantasy or in saying I should have or I shouldn't have? And I think it really begins with something that we talk about often, and that's discerning our heart's desires. What are our true heart's desires? Not what are the things that I want, not what are the things that boy, my life would be better if I just, and you add whatever it is that it would be for you. But what are my true hearts? What are the things that stay with me? What are the things that I know come from my true being within? And if you listen carefully, you'll know them. One of the things that has emerged for me lately is a great desire to visit Cornwall in England. And I'm planning a trip to do that in late spring or early summer. That comes from not just a wish, an idle wish. Man, I'd like to see more of the world, but something within me that is just urging me forward for that. I identify it as a true heart's desire. And so I think how we see with clear vision, how we see life as big as it possibly can be, is that we give our attention to discerning our heart's desires. And I suggest that you can do that by listening. We often talk about listening in the silence. I think it's also important that we see not from our human consciousness, but from the divine consciousness, the Christ consciousness within us. When we see from that place, we see things differently. Discerning our heart's desires, seeing from divine consciousness. It's part of a spiritual practice. It doesn't necessarily come automatically. It's not like falling off a log. It's something that we practice and learn and affirm and move toward and keep in the forefront of our mind in the present moment that this kind of vision, this biggest life kind of vision, is available to us. Donna, I'm thinking you're probably there today, and I know that at least one of the things that we've talked about is a vision for Unity of Payson. Now, I'm speaking to us here, Unity of Payson. A vision that I have, a great desire for our growth and our flourishing. One of the things that Donna and I have talked about, what would it look like if that desire we have for a flourishing Unity of Payson, a growing Unity of Payson, what would it look like? And somewhere there, I think up on the front someplace, is a grid, 5 by 5. And it represents the grid that we might see on Zoom here. For those of you who are with us on Zoom, not only those of us who are here, and look, I don't see what it is, but I think there are 10 or 12 of us here today online, but we see with eyes of faith that grid of 25 of us who are with us, not in person, but in spirit as one. And then we drew out a little seating map, talked about it. It allows for, I think, about 38 people altogether, 30 regular seats, and then other participants in the service. And Don, I don't know if you brought that today, but if you did, you put it up somewhere on a board so people can see it. This is the vision that I have for Unity of Payson. A vision from this very time and this very moment, not getting ahead of ourselves, but seeing with eyes of faith the detail even of what our desire is. And seeing the bigger picture, always saying this or something better. Because often we can't see big enough to see that greater picture, that what is possible. And so we always say this or something better. Remember that Honey, I Shrunk the Audience? So if we see in detail if we have that vision in detail, we have to look very carefully. We have to look to see those kids who've been shrunk, or to see that audience that's been shrunk. And so it takes time of reflection and contemplation and true looking for us to do that. Or if we're on the other side of the equation, if we're looking at that big picture, we allow ourselves in the present moment to see all the wonder of it, all the grand sense of that picture. And we say this, or something bigger, this, something more possible, this, that is something better. So we see today, from the present moment, both the detail of our heart's desires and the grand picture of all that is possible, because we are not limited. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Neal. As we prepare for meditation, our song is Ethan's theme from our own Annie James.
So now we come to a time to drop into that silent place, that space of the heart, that inner being that we have, to sit there for a moment to sit in order to know, to sit in order to understand, to sit in order to get guidance for our next step. So breathe with me for a moment. Just breathe and notice that breathing. We're not anywhere in the past now. We're not anywhere in the future. But we're here now. We're washing the dishes, as Thich Nhat Hanh says. We're sitting in the silence, here in the very place where we are, and nowhere else. Because we're truly living in this place, not just existing. And as we sit in the silence, I'd like you to consider what is my true heart's desire? Or what are my desires? Perhaps you know them. If you do, bring them to mind. Perhaps if it's a little fuzzy and you don't. It's time to open your ears wide, to listen, to open your eyes fully, to see with clarity. So take a moment in the silence to review those heart's desires or to allow them to emerge into your consciousness. What are my true heart's desires? And as that becomes apparent to you, as it becomes clearer and firmer, look at the detail of that. As you know it, as you can see it, as you visualize it, knowing that it may be all grander than that, but this is what you can see from where you are right now. Look at those details and relish them. Relish the detail of the fulfillment of your heart's desire. Give it your full attention in the moment of silence. Now let that detail that you've seen expand. Let it zoom out and realize that it's so much bigger than just that detail you've known right now. Put aside everything that you thought was impossible. Put aside all of the limits that you may have thought were there. And see all of the potential for your experience of your heart's desire. You want a desire that's as big as and bigger than the life you have known. Take a few moments to see that desire blossom and expand become the greatness of your destiny. And as you've seen this, take this question with you. Ears open, eyes wide open, looking for what is mine to do next. Not a mechanical plan, but an opening to spirit, the guidance, the direction that the Christ within is willing, ready, and eager to give. What is that for me today? And so in gratitude, we bring our attention back to the time and place where we are, knowing that only in this time and the place may we make change. May we see things differently. So open your eyes if you've had them closed, and maybe wiggle your fingers and toes to be back here in this time and this space. And so it is. Amen.
And so it is. Thank you, Reverend Neal, for the message, for holding the vision for Unity of Payson, and for leading us into being in present moment. So is everyone back? Let's see, I can usually tell by eyes. I think we're all back. Well, now is the time for our gifts and our offerings. In a moment, we'll have a song. And those of you online, the slides are up that you know how to do your giving. Or at any time, you can always go to unityofpayson.org and hit the donate button. Here in person, we will be having, Rick will be coming around with our basket. And so let's call to mind what you just perhaps discovered in your meditation, and hold that in your heart as we say our affirmation. Freely we give, and freely we receive. And our song is Learn How to Fly by Melinda Allen. I don't think I know this one.
Faith is knowing I've gotta keep going when life isn't flowing and I don't know why. I've gotta keep growing, can't just sit here and cry. I'll find solid ground, or I will learn how to fly. Standing at the edge of the life I know, afraid to step forward, can't see what's below. But I've come so far to the top of this hill. Don't wanna go backward, and I refuse to stand still. Faith is knowing I've gotta keep going when life isn't flowing and I don't know why. I've gotta keep growing, can't just sit here thought life was a lesson, like being in school. And I would be safe if I just played by the rules. But in the blink of an eye, the whole world can change. Ooh, till nothing's familiar, no sure thing remains. Faith is knowing I've gotta keep going when life isn't flowing and I don't know why. I've gotta keep growing, can't just sit here and cry. I'll find solid ground or I will learn how to fly. Faith is knowing I've gotta keep going when life isn't flowing and I don't know why. Faith is knowing, faith is knowing, gotta keep going, gotta keep going. Life isn't flowing and I don't know why. Gotta keep growing, can't just sit here and cry. I'm taking a leap and I will learn how to fly. I'm taking a leap and I will learn how to fly. I'm taking a leap and I will fly. Ooh, I will fly. I will fly.
Dedication of the offerings. You know, we bless the givers, we bless the gifts as we dedicate them. If you can say with me, please, divine love flowing through us blesses and multiplies all that we are, all that we have, all that we receive. We are abundantly prosperous, and we give thanks. Thanks, Rick. We have a few extra words in there nowadays. Okay, and so we move on to announcements. And for February, no surprise that the theme for February is love. And if you'd like, you could say the affirmation with me. Love, the very essence of our being, surrounds us, supports us, flows through us, and becomes us. Isn't that the truth? Especially when we're living in present moment, like we were just instructed to. And so, our speaker next Sunday will be Rev Neal, and his talk title is The Pure Essence of Being. And we move on now. Today, there's a few more announcements than usual, but we have our usual weekly events, so be sure to check the calendar in the back, or if you're online, do check the Monday e-newsletter for all the details. So we have Morning Cafe, 9:30 on Wednesday and Saturdays. Good time to meet and share and have some fun. Next, we're going to have a spiritual cinema. We haven't had one in a little while, and that'll be Friday, February 2nd from 6 to 8 here at the Fellowship Hall, and the movie is Groundhog Day. Haven't seen that one in a long time. And of course, we have Saturday Soul Boost every Saturday at 4 o'clock on Zoom, a brief, casual, fun discussion of the monthly theme, and more specifically of Rev Neal's lesson for the week. And next we have quite a bit of information. There are flyers on the back about the book study called Life Visioning. It's going to be based on the book by Michael Beckwith. And it was due to start tomorrow, but because Reverend Neal is back east, it's been pushed a week. So it'll be 5 Mondays, February 5th, 12th, 19th, 26th, and March 4th. And it'll be from 3 to 4:30 in the afternoon. And this will be a hybrid one. So it'll be here in the fellowship hall and also online. And that will be facilitated, of course, by Reverend Neal. And so please do sign up either on the sign-up sheet in the back, or if you're online, you can sign up at neil.unityofpayson@gmail.com to reserve your spot and to get a copy of your book, Life Visioning. And it is that time of year for end-of-year tax letters, and we have a few letters here that we don't have current email addresses, which is a little bit surprising to me. So if you are on this group that I'm going to read out, please send an email to our Gmail account, or you can call Rick. Because he's the one sending out the end of the year letters. So, Ed Ichek, Phyllis Papineau, Jennifer and Steve Hollenbach, Joanne Ivins, and Sue Lolo. I actually have your address. I'll give that one to Rick, and Anne Marie Evelyn. And so please, we need current addresses. Not sure what happened to them. So please get in contact. And then I wanted to highlight, especially, we have rotated some wares out of our gift shop on the back table. And Donna has brought in some new Valentine coasters. But there's some lovely soaps and bath things. And of course, we still have our jewelry out. So do take a few minutes after service to go over and see what is there. And that is self-service. There is a little box there for you to leave your donation. And so I believe it is time for us to circle up. Neal,
So I want to say, as a PS, I'd love to say thank you so much to you, Betty, and Tom in particular, but all of you who have helped to make it possible for me to be here with you, even though I'm not here with you. And so thanks a bunch. So go ahead with, and we'll close our service. And stay around if you're here. I want to just say hello to you online.
all the people online.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that is meant to be, with God as Creator, family are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me, and this is the moment now. With every step I take, this is my joyous thought. I take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
And a prayer for protection. Let's say it together. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. And the presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is and all is well. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm glad you put the gallery up. Now I can see everybody. So, Ed, glad to see you here from Aho. Bobby, you're becoming one of my favorite new, well, you're not new anymore. And Kay from Alabama, Frosty, Mary Ann, and Sammy, and maybe Terry too. I bet that's a possibility. So good to see you all, and be able to be here with you even if I'm in Chicago. So blessings, everybody. We'll see you again very, very soon.